What's up guys, my name is Ace, and Season 6 for Modern Warfare 3 is here, and with this, we saw quite a large weapon balance update, including a ton of changes to the Modern Warfare 2 weapons, a lot of buffs here, as well as some heavily anticipated nerfs to some of the more powerful guns throughout Season 5, like the STG, the Superi 46, and the Static HV. So without further ado, let's just dive right into this, and we're going to start it off with the assault rifle category, and with the STG44, we saw a couple adjustments. First off, they slightly reduced the maximum damage value. However, this is still a 4-shot kill in the maximum damage. It's just slightly less forgiving. Now you have to make sure at least 2 of those 4 shots have to hit the torso or arms, whereas previously you only needed 1 of those shots to hit torso or arms. It's still going to be pretty consistent here. However, it's also worth noting in that maximum damage range, previously we could get a 3-shot kill if 2 of those shots hit the head, whereas now with this damage adjustment, there is no 3-shot kill potential at all in that maximum damage range. But on top of that, all of our range values were also reduced by about 15%, give or take, depending on the range value. So overall, still a very strong gun. Not quite as strong as it used to be, but I'd still call it a very solid option in the assault rifle category. And that's actually the only Modern Warfare 3 assault rifle that was adjusted, but many of the Modern Warfare 2 ones were buffed quite significantly. So let's start this off with the M4. And with this, the first thing to point out is in the maximum damage range, while it's still going to be a 5-shot kill to the body, we are now capable of getting a 4-shot kill if 3 of those 4 shots hit them in the head, which is still pretty difficult to do, but we didn't have that potential before. And then you also notice at longer ranges, in that minimum damage range, it no longer drops off to a 7-shot kill. At most, it's going to be a 6-shot kill. Then with the Chimera, we saw some pretty significant buffs. First off, they essentially just dropped that last damage range. So now instead of a 7-shot kill at really long ranges, it's going to be a 6-shot kill. And all of our range values got extended drastically as well. So we can see here, our 5-shot kill potential is now over 40 meters. It's about 42 meters now, which is a pretty crazy range. And you should notice a lot more consistency now with the Chimera overall. Then after that, we have the Tempus Razorback, and the first thing to point out here is in that maximum damage range, it's still a 5-shot kill just like before, but now it's a guaranteed 5-shot kill, whereas previously, you needed to land at least 3 of those 5 shots to the torso. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Then our second damage range is noticeably improved there, and you'll also notice it no longer drops off to an 8-shot kill at long ranges, it's now only going to drop off to a 7-shot kill. So again, we see some nice consistency buffs overall here. After that, though, we have the M13C, and this one saw, again, some range buffs, very considerable range buffs. Our 5-shot kill potential now extends out to 50 meters with this gun, which is pretty crazy, although it still doesn't have a great time to kill with a 5-shot kill. They also improved our sprint out time with this from 210 milliseconds down to 189 milliseconds, and they reduced our recoil gun kick by 19%. And let's just look at pre-patch versus post-patch. And while there is still a fair amount of side-to-side bounce with this gun, even after this update, it's a lot more consistent and a lot more manageable than it was pre-patch. Pre-patch, it would jump pretty drastically left to right, and it doesn't do that quite as heavily anymore. But then finally, for the assault rifle category, we saw some buffs to the TR-76 Geist, and these were primarily range buffs, including a huge buff to its maximum damage range or its 4-shot kill potential. This went from 24 meters all the way up to 33 meters, which is a huge buff, and that's an excellent time to kill within that range as well. So this looks like it's going to be a very solid option now after this update, especially because they also improved our aim down sight time from 280 milliseconds down to 240 milliseconds. After that, let's move into the battle rifle category, and they only adjusted Modern Warfare 2 battle rifles, but there were some nice recoil improvements here, and we'll start this off with the Lockman 7.62. This is in semi-auto mode. I'm going to do all these recoil tests with their native fire type, which in the case of the Lockman 7.62 is semi-auto, and as you can see here, there is significantly less recoil on this gun now post-patch compared to pre-patch. This is definitely the biggest recoil adjustment we saw. After that, we have the Cronin Squall, this time in full auto mode, and we can see here there's some nice recoil improvements, nothing as crazy as the previous ones, but it's definitely more accurate now than it was pre-patch. Then for the FTAC Recon, this time in semi-auto mode, we saw some nice recoil improvements here, especially to that vertical magnitude. It doesn't kick up quite as much, and there isn't nearly as much of a jump between the first and second shot fired. Like, there's still more of a jump than the rest of the shots, but it's not as crazy as it used to be, so that's going to make it much more manageable. And then finally, for the recoil adjustments here, the TAC-V didn't see any direct adjustments to its recoil values, but it did see an improvement to its firing aim stability stats. And when you look at it side by side, you can't really tell much of a difference, if at all. It's mainly in the visual recoil where you can see a bit of a difference here. It's a little bit less shaky and jarring to be shooting the TAC-V now. And this just leaves us with one last adjustment to the battle rifles, and this time it wasn't recoil. This is to the SO14. It just saw a few range buffs, and they weren't drastic range buffs like we've seen with some of the other guns in the game, but some slight improvements here to our range values. Now, after that, let's move into the SMG category, and we'll start it off with the Superi 46. This is one that a lot of people have been calling for nerfs for, so let's see what they did here. The first thing they did is they decreased all of our range values by a noticeable margin, and that is the main nerf to this gun. And then on top of that, in our second damage range, they just made it a little bit less consistent. So it's a 5-shot kill pre-patch or post-patch, but now it requires 3 of those 5 shots to hit the torso or arms, whereas previously it was 2 shots to the torso or arms to maintain that 5-shot kill potential. In general, this is still going to be a very strong gun. It still has the crazy movement speeds and everything, and that's really what makes this gun excel. And I would still say it's going to be a solid choice after this update, just not quite as dominant as it was pre-patch. As for the other SMG that was dominant in Season 5 and has now received a nerf, this is the Static HV. And what they did here is, first off, up close, we no longer have a 4-shot kill potential to the body like we did pre-patch. However, if we just mix 1 headshot in with our body shots, we still can get that 4-shot kill. It's just now you need to land that headshot to make that happen. And then on top of that, they eliminated our 3rd damage range, and that just got combined with our 4th damage range, which is now less consistent as well, because in order to get that 5-shot kill, you have to land 4 out of those 5 shots to the upper torso or arms, which at those ranges for an SMG, that's not necessarily an easy thing to do consistently. So I think we should be seeing far less consistency overall with the Static HV. I think the magazine capacity is still going to make it a solid choice in the game. It's just, again, not going to be quite as dominant as it was in Season 5. And that's it for the Modern Warfare 3 SMG updates, but a bunch of the Modern Warfare 2 SMGs saw some very drastic buffs here. So let's start this off with the ISO 45. And the first thing to mention here is they equalize the body damage. So previously we had a bonus zone to the upper torso, whereas now that bonus damage applies everywhere in the body. So we're going to see way more consistency here with this gun. And then on top of that, they noticeably buffed our maximum damage range. This went from 9.1 meters up to 11.7 meters. Then the ISO 9mm also saw some buffs. The first thing is in the maximum damage range, which is fairly short, but in that range, we are capable of getting a 5-shot kill to the body now, whereas previously we didn't have that potential. And that's a pretty solid time to kill at 240 milliseconds. Then in our 3rd damage range, you can see previously that was a 7-shot kill. Now we've got a 6-shot kill potential there. And then in our minimum damage range, it used to drop off to an 8-shot kill to the body. Now we are capable of killing in 7 shots to the body at that range. So that's yet another very solid buff, and this gun will be definitely more viable after this update. After that, let's have a look at the PDSW, and the first thing to point out here is in that maximum damage range, it's now a guaranteed 5-shot kill anywhere in the body, whereas previously you had to hit your shots to the torso or arms to make that happen. Then you can see our overall 5-shot kill potential has improved up to 12.7 meters. And then our 6-shot kill potential, this is also drastically improved up to about 37 meters. That's a very nice improvement there. And then beyond that, it's only going to be a 7-shot kill, whereas pre-patch it would drop off to an 8-shot kill potential to the body. So consistency-wise, the PDSW is going to be significantly better now compared to pre-patch. And also a very solid choice based on what I'm seeing here. Another thing to mention is they did increase our headshot damage multiplier overall. And what this means is in that maximum damage range, we're actually capable of getting a 4-shot kill, but 3 of those 4 shots have to hit the head, which is a little bit difficult to do on a consistent basis. As for the Fennec 45, we saw some adjustments here. First off, there were some overall range adjustments, but mainly damage improvements at mid to longer ranges. Instead of dropping off very quickly to an 8 to 9 shot kill after just 12.7 meters, now it drops from a 6 to a 7 shot kill, so it doesn't skip directly to an 8 shot kill, and then it will drop off to an 8 shot kill beyond 20 meters, whereas pre-patch at that range, it was going to be a 9 shot kill. So definitely going to be a lot more consistent at mid to longer ranges now. Up close, it's pretty much the same though. Then let's talk about the BAS-P a little bit, because this one saw a big buff to its 2nd damage range, so it's now going to be a 5-shot kill potential there instead of a 6-shot kill potential. And that means we carry out a very impressive time to kill at 276 milliseconds beyond 30 meters, which is very competitive. And then in that 3rd damage range, instead of a 7-shot kill, it's a 6-shot kill potential. And then beyond that, it is going to be the same at a 7-shot kill. But overall, with the BAS-P, it looks like it's going to be a very solid, consistent, sort of assault rifle SMG hybrid now after this update, based on those time to kill values. And then finally, for the SMG category, the Vaznev 9K did see a slight adjustment here. The first thing is you'll see that 6-shot kill potential now extends beyond 40 meters, whereas previously it was only about 25 meters. And then on top of that, well, we still don't have a 4-shot kill potential to the body in the maximum damage range. We can now get a 4-shot kill to the head up close if 3 of those shots hit them in the head, and then the other one can hit the body. So not as big of a buff to the Vaznev, but you might see some improved consistency there overall. And now let's dive into the LMG category, although we're basically going to be covering a sniper rifle up first. This is the JAK Cataclysm kit for the RPK, which effectively converts it into a sniper rifle. This one saw another nerf, and with this you can see all of our range values were nerfed, and then on top of that, in our second damage range, we no longer get a one-shot kill to the lower torso or lower arms, but we will still get a one-shot to the upper torso and upper arms. And then beyond that 40 meters, it's now only going to be a one-shot kill to the head, which is a pretty big adjustment for longer ranges, and that really solidifies this as more of a close to mid-range sniper, not a long-range sniper like it previously was. And then after that for LMGs, the 5.56 Icarus saw some buffs, and these were just some nice notable range buffs, and also in the minimum damage range at long ranges, it's going to have a 6-shot kill potential to the body, whereas previously it was a 7-shot kill. So you should see quite a bit more consistency overall when using this gun. Now, let's move on to the Marksman rifle category, and unfortunately, this is a category where I just never did gather all of the pre-patch data for the Modern Warfare 2 Marksman rifles, and those are the only ones that were adjusted here. So I'm not going to have the fancy graphics like I've had for all of the other ones. I'm basically just going to tell you effectively what changed here. With the EBR-14, they increased our neck and upper torso multiplier, as well as our lower torso multiplier. And effectively what this means is up close in that maximum damage range, we're now capable of getting a 2-shot kill if both of those shots hit the upper torso, whereas previously you could only get a 2-shot kill if headshots were mixed in the equation. Then for the SPR-208, they increased our maximum damage range from 13 meters up to 20.3 meters, so a nice notable buff to our maximum damage range. And what this means is now we're capable of getting a 1-shot kill with the SPR-208 anywhere in the torso or arms out to 20 meters, whereas previously it was only to the upper torso out to 13 meters. So that's a pretty big buff to the SPR-208 overall. Then with the Tempus turret, we saw a buff to our minimum damage range, so a buff to really long ranges. Previously, it was a 4-shot kill to the upper torso at long ranges. Now it's a 3-shot kill as long as you're hitting upper torso or upper arms. Then with the LMS, they increased our neck and upper torso damage multiplier to the point where in the maximum damage range, we're now capable of getting a 2-shot kill to the upper torso or neck, whereas previously that would have been a 3-shot kill. And then finally, with the SAB-50, they increased our maximum damage range, which is the range where we're capable of getting a 1-shot kill to the upper torso and arms, from 10.4 meters up to 17.8 meters. So a nice notable difference there. I'd say the SPR-208 is probably the better option still, but the SAB is going to be a little more viable now than it was pre-patch. Now after that, let's move on to the sniper rifle category, and the Carrack 300 saw another buff. They just keep buffing this thing over and over again. And this time you can see in the maximum damage range, we're now capable of getting a 1-shot kill to the lower torso as well as the upper torso. In the second damage range, we're capable of getting a 1-shot kill to the upper torso, whereas previously you could only get a 1-shot to the head or neck, although they did reduce that range value a little bit to compensate. And then beyond that, it's basically just the same gun, so definitely a lot more power in those close to mid-range engagements without affecting longer ranges on this one. And then finally, in the pistol category, the Balilisk saw a buff. The first thing is our maximum damage range was extended from 8.4 meters up to 11.4 meters, and that's a range where we're capable of getting a 1-shot to the upper torso, neck, or head. And then our second damage range, where we're still capable of getting a 1-shot to the neck or head, this was increased from 22.9 meters up to 30.5 meters. So definitely some more power there for the Balilisk. And with that, that's finally going to wrap it up for all of the weapon balancing that took place with the Season 6 updates. Definitely a ton of adjustments to the Modern Warfare 2 guns to consider, and I would say many of those guns are going to be significantly more viable, if not potentially even meta now after this update. So if you guys are still playing Modern Warfare 3 and you're looking to mix things up a little bit, I definitely recommend branching into some of those Modern Warfare 2 SMGs or assault rifles especially that saw some notable buffs with this update. And with that, I'm just curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about this weapon balancing that took place with Season 6, especially when it comes to those fairly big buffs to many of the Modern Warfare 2 guns? If you enjoyed this video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.